Hello everybody, how's it going today? Glowplasma here about Kagurabachi chapter number 113. This chapter is titled Rock, because baby, yeah, rock on! We're gonna show what we're made of, talking about Kagurabachi, jam on, lived a long... I honestly don't know what people say about, maybe I'm just uncultured, and maybe that's why I'm sitting down talking about Kagurabachi chapter number 113, but you know what? Fun fact about this video, this is the first Kagurabachi chapter review I have filmed in a very, very long time around the release date. This chapter came out yesterday at the recording of this video. Yes, I am recording this Monday night. And gosh, it is such a good feeling to not only be caught up on Kagurabachi chapter reviews, but I say that, I'm not going to get any of these edited now for about 4 years. But with that, starting off a brand new arc of Kagurabachi's story, and one that, oh my gosh, there's so much interesting things that happen in this chapter, so many small lore drops, and gosh, this is my favorite type of Kagurabachi chapter to talk about because nobody knows what's going on, and that makes it even more fun to discuss and debate. And of course, I would start off by being like, hey, here's what happened last time in Kagurabachi, but really it doesn't matter. All we need to know is that Part 1 ended and Chihiro was getting ready to reforge some of the enchanted blades. Mainly, he is parts of the Inten and parts of Cloud Gadgers going to work together to figure out all of this various stuff here. And with all of that being said, we start this chapter with a little bit of narration. On February 18th, a large island suddenly appears in the coastal waters near southeast Japan. And we see off the coast of this part of Japan, I'm pretty sure that as we will learn, let me go in, prefectures of Japan. If I'm not mistaken, this is around Shiba prefecture, because I'm pretty sure this gets pointed out. I should know I once had to take a Japanese, I say I once had to, no, I willingly took Japanese 1 through 3 in high school, and in the process of that, we had to, our final project for Japanese 3 was hey, take us through a Japanese road trip through a prefecture. And of course, my favorite Japanese prefecture, for anybody who doesn't know, is Shizuoka Prefecture. I just think it's a cool sounding name. Alright, so I'm gonna be real, I don't know where I was when recording of this video, I just know I was somewhere talking about the prefectures of Japan before I went off on this long rant about some things that I think I'm probably just gonna cut at the end of the day, just because I don't think it was too interesting, but it also took me down memory lane looking at my old Japanese 3 final, so I don't know, I forgot I used to know how to say all of those words. But as we go to the next page, oh my gosh, I should have just kept reading. It says, between it and Honshu is an island called Irishima, which is part of Chiba Prefecture. So yes, it is off the coast of Chiba Prefecture. During a record-breaking earthquake 34 hours prior, a vein of unidentified material was exposed on Irishima's surface. The ore is highly reactive to spirit energy and produces astronomical power bursts when the two come in contact. Immediately, it was designated as Japan's most critical resource. Of course, we know this is Zadaten Seki. As we then cut to 2 years later, in Tokyo, as we see this guy walks into this room with a bunch of high-level sorcerers. I don't know if they're high-level sorcerers. They're high-level business people, right? As this one guy's did you bring the goods? Is that it? And the sorcerer walks into the room. He's smoking a cigarette, and wow, he is one of the most interesting designs I think I have ever seen from a character, at least in the past little while. As he wears this very interesting type of cap on his head where it's stitched right down the middle of it. At first I was okay, did this guy's brain get head get ripped open and he had to stitch it together? But we end up seeing that from this bandana or whatever he's wearing, this head covering, he's got hair coming out of the back of it. Of course, we will learn in a second that he has one less arm than most people would, as he has lost his right arm. But he also wears these ski goggles, not ski goggles, scuba goggles over his eyes as well. It's a pretty interesting little panel here, right? As this one sorcerer guy who we do not know his name, oh gosh, it's been a while since I've had to make up names for Kagurabachi characters. You know what? What do we think about this guy? I don't know, Goggles. Yeah, his name is Goggles from now on. As this one guy's like, oh, is that it? And Goggles is like, yes, it's the Daten Seki. As we get to chapter number 113, titled Rock. And he opens up this briefcase and puts it in front of all of these gentlemen. And the one guy's like, well, isn't it rather small? And Goggles is like, well, hey, it's plenty powerful. That's enough to obliterate an entire city. If you can wield it properly, of course. Even the government has yet to figure out how to do that, though. I guess that's just the nature of this orb. And this businessman's like, and a sorcerer of your caliber, and you ended up like that? As we see the Goggles sits down in a chair, his arm is pretty much gone. It looks like it's cut up a little bit up before the elbow of the arm. So, like, yeah, still not great, but I do like how this guy, like, has it tied, his, like, sleeve tied up together and, like, almost concealing it from view. Like, hey, at least he's still rocking the suit, you know what I'm saying? As Goggles is just like, yeah, I probably should have charged you about another 200 million or so. And this guy's like, oh, well, how about this? Did you have a run-in with any of the government operators? And Goggles is like, nah, I didn't. And the businessman's like, oh, then, like, who did you run into then? There's nobody else there on Hiroshima, right? I mean, it's a completely uninhabited island. And Goggles is like, nah, man, you're wrong. There were plenty of people there. We know the government's been having trouble extracting the ore, even though the island is supposedly uninhabited. And now, I know why. They appeared to be human, but not like ordinary sorcerers. They must have been assassins sent by Shokoku. Shokoku, are you, like, talking about that so-called large island that suddenly surfaced in the ocean near Hiroshima? Like, the inhabitants from there? But the government said it was like a cluster of mutated seaweed or something like that. And Goggles is just laughing. Oh, excuse me, that was a very early assessment, wasn't it? The government has released no actual information since then. And to be honest, that's because they don't know anything. As we see the island of Shokoku and a ship approaching the edge of it, as we see what seems to be this island, it's grown over almost what looks like big tree trunks, all covering the outside. At the top, a canopy of leaves that can't be seen through. And it honestly almost reminds me of the Pine Tree Sorcerer's ability. Who knows? Maybe that has something to do with all this. I mean, we really have no idea at this point. And we see a rather large fishing vessel also here on the edge. And on it, there's like a few guys just sitting here, and one of them's like, hey, boss, this is as far as we can go. And his boss is like, oh, is there something wrong? And the kid's like, no, the boat just won't go any closer, almost like it's physically impossible. As here, back in a moment, Goggles is sitting here and he's like, well, that island is surrounded by a powerful force field, and nobody can approach it even beyond a certain distance. Since its appearance 2 years ago, nobody knows what lies beyond that point. However, some of the mariners sent to investigate have reported sightings of what look like humans. They're the assassins that I crossed paths with. As we see that one of the businessmen is like, so humans on the island that surfaced in the ocean? And the other businessman is like, then why are we calling it a country? Like, why name it Shokoku? As Goggles is like, well, it's only a theory, but the force field is large enough to cover a couple of cities. And so strong nobody's been able to breach it for 2 years. It's not humanly possible. Either they simply have powers beyond our reckoning, or it has to do with the astronomical energy of this ore, as he holds up the sample of the Daten Seki. Perhaps these people also have the Daten Seki and are an advanced civilization that knows how to use it. That's my theory, at least. And one of the businessmen's like, all right, dude, whatever, you lost me. As the other's like, so what you're saying is that this place is populated? And Goggles is like, yeah, it's a good possibility. And the businessman's like, well, I mean, but if that's true, then what reason do they have to send assassins out? And Goggles is like, well, they probably just don't want Japan getting their hands on all of that powerful ore. I mean, at the end of the day, who really knows? And the businessman's like, okay, then, but why hide it? Like, why not just make a big splash and take it all for themselves? And Goggles is like, I mean, they're probably preparing. They emerge from the depths of the ocean, right? So they have to get used to the sunlight. They need to train for battle. They're probably doing military exercises over there as we speak. And the businessman's like, exercises? And Goggles like, yeah, they're preparing for war. As he leans forward and taps his cigarette in the ashtray. And another hand is also tapping a cigarette in an ashtray, one that's wearing a beaded bracelet around the wrist. And we look up and see, oh, wow, Shiba is here. And Shiba's like, all right, you guys done talking. And Goggles looks over. Hey, kid, who are you? As the businessman yells, hey, security, get him! As all of these people come over and just take their blades and put them up right next to Shiba's neck. One of them is like the blade getting ready to slice, one of them is getting ready to pierce, and all of them have their fingers out, getting ready to use some sorcery. And they're like, hey, don't move, kid, just don't do anything. And all of a sudden, Shiba just looks around like, all right, whatever. And him and all of these people just disappear. As we look up to the sky, well, they're all floating in the sky, and they're getting ready to hit the ground. Shiba reappears, and he's like, sorry, damn, I didn't mean to, I accidentally moved. And everybody looks outside at all of these sorcerers that come crashing to the ground. As Shiba gets up and stands in front of Goggles, and he sort of just says, like, hey, you're awfully quiet. And Goggles looks up, very just scared expression on his face, and he looks up, blood splattering the side of Shiba's face, and he's like, oh, you must be Togo Shiba. If you are, then, I know I can't beat you. And he's like, God damn it, you bastard. The Soga clan's guardian, and you call yourself a sorcerer? You're nothing more than the government's dog. We see that Shiba is starting to almost torture Goggles in front of him. And this guy walks in, he's like, whoa, what's all this, like, death cry going on? And Shiba looks behind him, he's like, oh, hey, Mashiro, you're late. And Mashiro's like, oh, hey, Mr. Shiba, like, what are you doing? And also, you got here early, too. And Shiba's like, well, I'm just stepping on this guy's neck and burning him, pretty much, as we see that he's just holding his cigarette on this guy's face, on Goggles' face. And Mashiro here in the moment, we see that he's just wearing a sword on his back, very reminiscent of like Aki's design from Chainsaw Man, in the fact that the way that he has a sword sort of like expanded and like sitting on his back pretty much, right? And Mashiro's just like, hey, I mean, you shouldn't kick and burn him too much. I mean, none of us want him dead. I mean, we have questions to ask him. And Shiba looks back and is like, yeah, whatever. I mean, this guy was on the right track. He was already anticipating a war with Shokoku. And Mashiro's like, whoa, that's pretty sharp. And like, hey, dude, like, he needs not to interfere with all of this stuff, right? And like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? As Shiba just thinks, I mean, it's been 2 years since the appearance of Shokoku. There have been repeated skirmishes over the vein of ore in Hiroshima. They stick to the versionary tactics rather than head-on battles. They seem satisfied to prevent us from mining the ore. Well, at least for now, all of that is. As Shiba's like, whatever. War, I mean, our job is to prevent that worst case scenario. But first of all, we need to understand this ore. As he picks up the Dotenseki floating in the middle of this vial in his hand, as he just thinks, Shokoku and the Dotenseki appeared almost simultaneously. There's clearly a deep connection between the two. As Shiba grabs his flip phone, flips it open, and starts dialing some numbers on, and he's like, hey, what's up? It's Shiba, and from the other end of the phone, it's, Shiba, mission status? Yeah, man, it's complete. What about that other thing? Oh, that didn't go through. Hey, what are you talking about, right? As the phone's just like, I mean, I've said it over and over. The guy's too young. Besides, we're talking about a low-life weapons dealer who barely answers his calls. And she was like, whatever. He's just a year older than me. Like, that's a bit harsh. And the phone just continues, we can't entrust the nation's most critical resource to a guy like that. This is highly sensitive information. We've hired other trusted veteran swordsmiths as consultants. And she was like, I'm telling you, nobody can touch this guy's skill level. And as the phone just continues, a select team of scientists are conducting ongoing research. And she was like, yeah, whatever. I mean, it's been 2 years and where you guys? Basically nowhere. Sorry, that's just how it is, though. That's how challenging this material is to work with. As a light bulb goes off above Shiba's head. Well, understood. I just need to make a quick stop, and then I'll be back at headquarters. All right, copy that. Hey, Shiba, wait a second. Where exactly are you? Shiba just hangs up the phone the moment an audible beep rings out. And Shiba's like, well, I know what we're going on. And Mashiro looks over. Oh, dude, like, what do you mean? Like, we're going on a quick stop? And Shiba's like, yeah, we are. I'm taking this to show him. As we just look up in the mountains, a little bit of a mountain hideout, a blacksmith shop, and a hammer striking iron. As we flip over to the next page, as we see as the hammer strikes iron, Kunishige Rokuhira works in his shop away in the mountains. And just a few words adorn this page. As we read, we are in the Seitai War arc. And that's where we end this chapter of Kagurabachi. Oh, I'm not only so happy to be caught back up on this incredible manga series, but also there is just like so much in this chapter. Like, we start off with this very interesting idea of, hey, Hiroshima is where the Danseki is really coming from. This vein of ore that suddenly moved to the surface. And in the 2 years since this island has come up, well, Japan hasn't been able to do much in terms of figuring out, number one, what this war is, and number two, what it does. And of course, we get a lot of this narration through this very interesting looking goggle sorcerer. I honestly think that, we never see him actively die here in the moment. So maybe we'll see this guy in the current story. It's just copium. Like, I just like the design thing. It's a little bit of a weird thing and cool. But also on pages 6, 7 of this chapter, don't say anything in the comments, but just this image of the island of Shokoku and this force field around it, and it very much seems like they've got something they want to hide. And whenever they're portrayed this chapter, they're portrayed as shadowy figures, pretty much, who we don't really see the faces of besides that they have vaguely human features. An eyes, noses, mouths, ears, and really that's about it. These assassins, as Goggles calls them. And of course, then moving on to Shiba showing up, being like, hey, this is the Danseki. We learn about Shiba being the Sojo clan's guardian, which means that Shiba has probably known Akimura for a good long while, and in the process of that, probably knows who his sister is, who of course is Kunishige's wife. And being even more that Shiba then comes through and against the government's will is like, hey, I'm going to take this ore over to, who's his face? I'm going to take it over to Kunishige, who's going to forge the enchanted blades. And I'm going to introduce this guy to his best friend and also his best friend's sister, who he ends up marrying and having a kid with. I just can't help but think that the entire Seitai War may just be Shiba's fault. Like, I don't want to say anything, but I am, because, like, come on, Shiba. I can understand why you have such a guilty conscience and not only want to keep Chihiro alive, but also sit here at the end of the day being like, am I just going to get more people killed? Because that's like a big plot point that I want definition on from the end of part 1, where Shiba's like, oh man, like, what's going on here? I don't know, like, am I only going to get more people killed if I intervene? Maybe he intervened to begin with, and everybody died because of it. I don't know, it's just one thing to think about, and something going into the Seitai War arc of Kagurabachi. Peak fiction, man! This was such a fun chapter, and really my favorite type of manga chapter in general, where we start off an arc, see all of the lore, and just see where it's going to take us from here. Of course, with this Seitai War arc, it's going to be very interesting because I'm guessing that this arc is either going to be 1 volume long, 2 volumes long, or 3 volumes long, at least in that sort of general ballpark, really getting us to about 9 chapters, 18 chapters, or about 27 chapters, being that a typical Jump volume has about 9 chapters in it, though Kagurabachi has shown it's not afraid to shove 11 in whenever it needs to. So with the point of all of that, I think the end of part 1 is going to be the end of volume 12 of the manga, which means that hopefully number 113 can be the beginning of the next volume. Or this is going to be part of volume 12 as well. It really just depends. I mean, let me quickly open up the Kagurabachi wiki, and I can really get my eyes focused better on this topic then. But from what I know, volume 10, or actually, I'm not even going to say anything. Let me just pull it up before I'm just like so wrong. But you know what? I don't have to stall that much longer because we are here. Volume number 10 ends off on chapter number 95 of the manga. And of course, that means that if we are doing 9 chapters in volume 11, that's all the way from 96, we got 101, all the way to 104, if I'm not mistaken. And from that point, it leaves us with 105, 106, 107, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, which actually is an even 9 right there. So from 96 all the way down to 113, or not 113, to 112 is where we're looking at. I shouldn't be counting 113 because that's the chapter I'm reviewing right now. But if we look at all of this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 chapters that have yet to appear in a volume. But we have to remember, there's a few bonus chapters like the one we got last week with Kagurabachi with not only the Genichi Sojo's Bathhouse Quest chapters, but also the Soya Sazanami's Memories Be Gone bonus chapter. So I can easily see a world where we throw 10 chapters in volume 11 and then 8 mainline chapters in volume number 12, and then the bonus chapters as well, starting us off chapter number 13 in a brand new volume. Maybe doing it the same way that Bleach's Turn Back to Pendulum arc did, in that same exact way. But in the process of all of that, what was I sort of getting ready to say? This arc, I think, can be a number of different ways long. I think that one chapter, or one volume, just going to be way too short. I feel like there's so much that Hokuzono wants to tell us here, and that I feel like 15 chapters would be almost the minimum for the story that he wants to tell if he is giving us the entire Seitai War arc here in the moment, right? Along with that, we have the whole idea of 2 volumes. I think is about the proper length. About 18, 20 chapters could really get it done properly. But as we're stretching out to 3 volumes to 27 chapters, I feel like a lot of the general manga community is going to be sitting down here and like, nah, man, that is just way too long. Like, I want to see Chihiro, I want to see all of these characters, and I mean, if we spend 30 chapters, that would be a solid 1/4 of the series spent on this Seitai War arc. And of course, like, that's fine. I mean, I think a lot of us see that Kagurabachi is a manga that has a lot of potential to run for a very long time. I mean, to be honest with you, we could be learning something about the Seitai War here, and in the process, it shows that Akimura is a bad person, but maybe Shokoku is still a bit of a threat, and it's just the island of Shokoku in general, or maybe a darker force. Maybe it's like this whole covenant under the sea or something that eventually it's like, well, we beat Akimura at chapter number 300, but now we have to go deal with the Dattenseki itself underground. Like, Kagurabachi has set up a run that can just continue for a lot longer. I feel like, oh, all of these other sorcerer people just living around in all of these general towns. Well, what are we going to do but then talk about them? Like, Kagurabachi set itself up for so many interesting moments going forward in the series, and this Seitai War arc is just the beginning. Shiba looks pretty cool, this Mashiro guy. I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, maybe he's, like, dead, but at the same time, we see that he's got, like, a little bit of a white strip of hair in his head, and there's one of the Kabanabi members that's got this, like, black hair, but, like, the white front part of it, and also is one of the people who knew Kunishige's location, so that may be Mashiro from the pure fact of, like, hey, he went there with Shiba, and the two of them went there to show him to Dattenseki, so of course, he would know where Rokuhiro would live. But All of this, I'm just getting into theory crafting and just talking about this chapter in circles when I don't know what I'm talking about. With all of that being said, great chapter of Kagurabachi. I've covered this series for a long time. If you want to hear my thoughts, you can go find them online. There'll be a playlist in the description box of this video and on the end card of this video as well. And yeah, if you guys just did enjoy this video, leave me a comment. Let me know if you like the new style of videos on the Glowplasma channel and just all of this various stuff. And what did you think about this chapter? I thought it was peak fiction. I think you guys think it was peak fiction, and I just can't wait to see where we will go next time. Because for the first time in a long time, I am making a video before the next chapter comes out. All of that being said, I'll catch you guys next time. This is Glowplasma, signing out. Man, this is all Shiba's fault, bro. Oh no, Shiba. Oh no.